We sort of have a unique way of teaching field goal kicking, since so many young kickers are worried about the power and their approach gets too hard and they drive too hard at the ball. I try to teach a guy backwards. We start from the plant foot and the striking position and then work our way back in hopes of teaching the kicker the solid foundations at the point of impact, and then slowly adding the components to make up the power aspect of it. So now what we want to do with Richie is we're going to show him the position you need to be in when you make contact when you strike the football. There's always questions about plant foot position and how that relates to getting the ball up in the air and kicking the ball straight. Right now, Richie is in about the position you need to be to kick a field goal, and we're talking about kicking a field goal straight down the field. We're not talking about from the right hash or the left hash mark yet. Some people will teach that when you strike the ball, that your hip should be square to the ball and perpendicular to the target line. I find that to be not correct, because when you're square to the ball, your foot is actually on an angle. The soccer-style kicker rolls his foot down and out like this, and if his foot's on a little bit of an angle, and if you're perpendicular to target line, you're going to pull every kick to the left. You watch all the real good kickers in close-up, usually their hips are tilted a little bit like that, meaning that the plant foot is not straight down the field parallel to the target line like some of you have been taught, but it's turned in a little bit. If you can see from the front in a close-up angle of this how Richie's foot is turned in slightly, his hips are on a little bit of an angle, and that makes the foot perpendicular to the ball, and that's going to give him the best chance of kicking the ball straight. Now, as far as getting the ball up in the air, we want to look from the side to see what we call the depth of the plant foot, and that is the plant foot behind the ball or is it in front of the ball? A close-up of Richie's foot here will show you about where you need to be. None of this is etched in stone, but because each kicker is a little bit different, foot size is different, body builds are different, but for the most part, what I try to get kickers to do is to have the ball of their foot or the arch of their foot about even with the football. Some people will teach to have the foot back with the toes even with the ball, but then you end up with your hips square and the striking instrument, your foot is on an angle, and you're going to end up pulling kicks that way. If you get your plant foot too deep, your hips aren't going to get around and you're going to end up pushing the ball, or you'll realize that you're out in front and you'll wrap around the ball and do this in an effort to try to kick it straight. So ideally, your plant foot should be ball of the foot, arch of the foot, even with the ball, turned in slightly to your target line, hips slightly on an angle to your target line. Your kicking foot is rolled down and out, and now from the back we can see the proper striking position of the foot to the football. Richie's toe is rolled down and out, and he's going to try to strike the ball on the top part of his instep. If his plant foot gets too wide, he's going to reach for the ball and end up hitting the ball on his toe, and that's the weakest part of your foot. You want to hit it on the top instep, the top part of your instep where the bone is, and you're going to get a good solid contact and really be able to punch the ball.